Welcome back to English Podcast course. Today, we'll practice fun English conversations for...
So, you know how sometimes you meet someone and only after hanging out for weeks you suddenly realize they're younger than you? Not just by a little, but enough to make you do the math and blink twice.
It's wild when that happens. I remember chatting with a guy at a trivia night, and it turned out he was 5 years younger than me. I instantly felt like I should be giving him life advice or something.
Oh, totally. There's this weird instinct to turn into someone's older sibling, even if that's not what anyone signed up for. But sometimes, age just slips your mind until they mention a pop culture reference you've never even heard of.
That happened to me. He started quoting a meme that apparently blew up after I'd already stopped keeping track of TikTok trends. It's like, are we even speaking the same language at this point?
I had a moment at a party where someone mentioned they'd never used a floppy disk. I suddenly felt ancient, even though I'm not. It's those tiny moments that make the age difference hit.
I get that. My friend once asked if dial-up was a kind of coffee. I had to decide if I should laugh or quietly mourn the passage of time. It's not even about being old, it's just different eras, right?
Exactly. It's not judgmental. It's more like an, oh wow, the world really does keep moving epiphany. Sometimes it's hilarious. Other times, you wonder if you should start carrying a back in my day sign.
Or start every story with once upon a time before smartphones. That might actually be kind of fun for a week, but I'm not sure my friends would appreciate it.
But there's a bright side being, the older one brings perks. You get to feel wise, dish out advice, and pretend you're a sage or something. Plus, younger friends keep you in the loop on what's cool.
That's been my saving grace. My younger friend got me hooked on shows I never would have picked, and now I find myself making references that surprise even me. It's like a free upgrade to youth too.
And you avoid becoming a fossil, at least socially. I mean, if I hadn't met my younger buddy, I'd still be listening to playlists from 2012. Not that there's anything wrong with a little nostalgia, but variety helps.
For sure. Plus, sometimes they teach you tech shortcuts that save you hours. I never would have figured out half the features on my phone if it weren't for my younger friends schooling me like I'm their tech-illiterate uncle.
Funny thing is, even though there's an age gap, it's not just you teaching them or vice versa. It's a two-way street. I've picked up so many hacks from younger friends, but sometimes they'll ask about handling tough stuff, like job stuff or taxes.
Totally. My younger buddy once asked me how to negotiate rent, and it turned into this full-blown life skills session. But they've also shown me shortcuts for cooking, like 5-minute ramen hacks I wish I'd known in college.
It's kind of cool everyone's got something to bring to the table regardless of age. If you're open to it, those gaps become bridges instead of barriers.
That's a good way to put it. And honestly, those different perspectives keep things interesting. Conversations never get stale when you're constantly learning new lingo or sharing old-school tricks.
So, after all this, do you think age differences really matter? Or is it just another quirky detail about friendships?
I think it only matters if you let it. Most of the time, I forget I'm the older one until someone brings it up. It's the shared interests and laughs that count at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's like you get a bonus perspective on life when you mix it up. Plus, there's always a good story to tell when you realize the person who just schooled you at Mario Kart is technically a whole generation younger.
And that's what keeps things fun, never knowing who you'll meet or how they'll expand your world, whether they remember dial-up or think Spotify's old school. It's all part of the adventure.
So, I've been biting my tongue all week, and I can finally say it. I have a surprise for you. And no, it's not another weird mug collection from my grandma's attic.
Now you've got me all curious and a little nervous, honestly. The last time someone said those words to me, I ended up at a goat yoga class. Is this going to be one of those situations?
I promise no goats involved, although if I had to, I'd go for alpacas next time. But really, I think you're going to be into this. Any guesses?
Let's see. Is it food related? Because, if it's pizza or cookies, I might just forgive any amount of suspense.
You're not far off. Let's just say it's something that could make your day a little sweeter. But I'm not giving in just yet. Want one more guess?
Okay, I'm going bold. Did you somehow wrangle tickets to that secret rooftop concert I've been talking about nonstop? Because if so, I will literally do a happy dance here.
Man, I wish. I couldn't track down tickets, but I did try a few sketchy online forums. But that actually reminds me of your birthday scavenger hunt last year. Remember how creative you got with those clues?
Oh, that was chaos, especially when you mistook the neighbor's cat for one of the clues. But you know, I kind of love surprises that send you on little adventures, even if the neighbors don't.
I totally get that. Surprises are half excitement, half mild anxiety, right? Like, you want to trust the person, but there's always that tiny part of your brain bracing for a rubber chicken.
That's so true. I remember as a kid thinking surprises meant something huge, like your parents secretly brought home a puppy. Now, it's more like, surprise, the Wi-Fi actually works today.
Isn't it wild how our expectations shift? Now, if someone gives me a surprise nap, I practically cry with joy. But don't worry, this isn't a nap voucher. It's got a little more excitement.
Well, whatever it is, you've officially stirred up equal parts nostalgia and suspense in my brain. Should I be sitting down for the big reveal?
All right, here goes no more cryptic hints. I managed to get us seats at that new dessert-making class downtown. The one with the chef who's always on TikTok making cakes look like sneakers.
Wait, seriously? I've been stalking that chef's videos for weeks. I can't believe you pulled this off. Mixing sugar and sneakers, honestly, that's my aesthetic in a nutshell.
I knew you'd be into it. Plus, I figured we could use a little creative chaos in our lives. Who knows? Maybe we'll come back with a cake shaped like your favorite hoodie.
Don't tempt me. I will 100% try to eat a cake hoodie. This is genuinely the best surprise I've had in ages.
I'm glad you love it. I was half expecting you to say you're allergic to fondant or something, and then I'd have to improvise a new plan on the spot.
No allergies here, just a severe weakness for chocolate ganache. Honestly, I can't wait to see you try to sculpt a sneaker out of cake. I hope you know what you've signed us up for.
I'll probably end up with frosting in my hair, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. Plus, if it all goes sideways, we'll just eat our mistakes, right?
That's basically my life philosophy. Make a mess, laugh about it, and eat whatever's left. This is going to be so much fun. I'm officially counting down the days.
You know, lately I keep hearing people toss around the phrase, let him cook. Social feeds, group chats, even my grandma texted it once. But what's it actually supposed to mean? I feel like everyone's got their own spin.
When I first saw it, I genuinely thought someone was talking about Gordon Ramsay or something. But basically, it's like saying, let the person do their thing. Don't interrupt the magic, might happen. Almost like giving someone space to work their genius. Or maybe just go off the rails a little.
Yeah, there's this sense of anticipation, right? Like, he's got a plan, just wait. It's almost become a way to build suspense when someone's on a roll, whether they're actually cooking or just coming up with wild ideas.
Totally. And it's not just about food at all. I've seen people use it for someone making a bold move in a video game, or even when a friend starts telling some convoluted story, you just let them cook and see where it goes.
That brings me to the origin story. I'm curious, did this start as sports slang? Or did TikTok just manifest it out of thin air? It feels so sudden, but I know these things have roots somewhere.
Funny enough, I read that it actually started in basketball circles. Like, when a player gets hot and you don't want to ruin their momentum, teammates will say, let him cook. But then, social media gobbled it up and suddenly everyone's using it.
Of course, it mutated along the way. Now it's meme territory. I've seen edits of someone literally stirring a pot while pulling off some ridiculous stunt.
That's my favorite part. The memes have gotten so absurd sometimes, it's just a picture of a confused cat with a chef's hat and suddenly, let him cook is the punchline. The internet really knows how to run with a joke until it's unrecognizable.
Thinking about it, I realize I've probably let someone cook without even knowing it. Like, my coworker once insisted we try her weird spreadsheet hack, and I just watched in horror, then suddenly, boom! It worked better than anything I planned.
That's such a classic. Actually, last week my roommate started rearranging our entire living room. I wanted to step in and steer, but I figured, let him cook. Turns out he's got the eye of an interior designer. Who knew?
Sometimes the best thing we can do is just step back and enjoy the show, even if it's a little chaotic in the moment. It's almost thrilling to watch, as long as it's not your car keys in their hands.
Exactly, there's a bit of risk, but also a chance for some unexpected brilliance. Half the time, you get a story to tell whether it ends up in disaster or pure genius.
Speaking of disaster, I have to ask, have you ever let someone cook and immediately regretted it? I mean, not just with food. I'm talking about any situation where you thought, yeah, maybe I should have set some boundaries.
Oh, absolutely. Once, my cousin tried to assemble furniture without instructions. I thought, why not let him cook? 2 hours later, we had a chair and a pile of unexplainable leftover screws. It wobbled if you even looked at it.
That's the thing, sometimes let him cook is code for, I'm just here for the entertainment. It's almost like a spectator sport. I've witnessed group projects where someone insists on their way, and you just brace for impact.
Honestly, sometimes you get a mess, but sometimes you get a masterpiece. And sometimes you get both at once. There's a fine line between genius and chaos, and let him cook puts you right on that edge.
So where do you see let him cook going next? Do you think it's going to stick around? Or are we going to move on to the next catchphrase in a month and forget this ever happened?
Part of me feels like it's going to age like YOLO. It'll linger for a while, then pop up in some unexpected context 5 years from now. But for now, I think it's got legs. People love a good catchphrase that works in almost any situation.
And honestly, it captures a vibe, a mix of trust, skepticism, and a little bit of chaos. That's probably why it resonates so much. I wouldn't mind it sticking around, as long as we don't start using it on actual chefs in the kitchen.
If anyone yells, let him cook at me while I'm trying to make dinner, I'm leaving. But seriously, it's fun to see how language evolves. And this phrase is a perfect example of how internet culture just keeps remixing itself.
You know, I always thought making ice cream at home would be some epic culinary quest, like requiring a fancy machine or special skills. But turns out, it's shockingly easy.
I totally get that. The first time I tried it, I assumed I'd end up with a weird frozen brick. But honestly, you can whip up a batch with just a handful of kitchen basics, no ice cream maker needed.
Exactly. I mean, who knew that you could make ice cream just using a freezer, some cream, sugar, and maybe a little vanilla? It feels like a magic trick.
And the best part is, you don't have to babysit the thing. Just mix, freeze, and if you're feeling ambitious, give it a stir now and then. Suddenly, you're the ice cream wizard.
That makes me wonder, what are the real essentials? I keep seeing recipes with egg yolks and all kinds of stuff, but do you actually need those?
Honestly, for a basic ice cream, you can totally skip the eggs. Heavy cream and sweetened condensed milk are like the dynamic duo. Throw in some vanilla extract and you're golden.
That's such a relief. My fridge is basically a wasteland, but cream and condensed milk are the kind of things I actually have. Does it really get that creamy without eggs?
It does. The condensed milk gives it that dreamy texture. If you want to get fancy later, you can try egg-based custards, but for a quick fix, the shortcut version is surprisingly rich.
So once you've nailed the base, it seems like you can get creative with flavors, right? Last month I threw in some peanut butter and pretzels, and it was absolute chaos, but in a good way.
That sounds incredible. I recently went rogue with crushed cookies and a swirl of raspberry jam. There's this moment of suspense before the first scoop, like, will this be genius or a science experiment gone wrong?
Exactly. I love that there's zero pressure if you mess up. Worst case, you have weird-tasting ice cream. Still a win.
Plus, if you make enough, friends start showing up just to sample your latest flavor disaster. Suddenly, you're popular for your questionable concoctions.
Okay, real talk, my one nemesis is those sneaky ice crystals. Sometimes my ice cream ends up more like shaved ice. and less like the dreamy scoop you want.
Oh, I feel your pain. The trick that saved me was whipping the cream before folding it in. That, or giving the mixture a stir every hour as it freezes. Makes a huge difference with texture.
Whipped cream, huh? That explains a lot. I'd just been dumping everything together and hoping for the best.
It's totally worth the extra few minutes. You get that soft, creamy finish instead of an Arctic block. Plus, your arm workout for the day done.
Thinking about it, the real appeal is that you control every flavor and ingredient, no mystery additives or weird aftertastes. Plus, it just tastes more personal somehow.
Absolutely. There's something about scooping up a creation you made, even if it's a little lumpy. It gives you bragging rights, and honestly, homemade ice cream just hits different.
And let's be honest, handing someone a bowl and saying, "I made this," is way more impressive than showing off your latest takeout order.
Totally. Plus, you never know, today's homemade vanilla could be tomorrow's viral pickle chip swirl. The ice cream future is wide open.
So, I was filling out this online form the other day and got hit with that classic drop-down. Ms., Mrs., or Miss. Why do we still have so many options? What's the real deal behind Ms. and Mrs. anyway?
It always throws me off too. The difference actually goes way back. Mrs. used to signal a married woman, while Miss is more recent, popping up in the 20th century so women didn't have to reveal their marital status. Kinda wild that men just get Mr. every time, right?
Exactly. No one's asking about Mr.'s relationship status. It's like women get this extra little social tag just for existing. Makes you think about how much of our language is stuck in old habits.
Totally. And it really highlights how society used to, and sometimes still does, treat marriage as a default identity for women. But that brings up something else. Have you noticed how people actually choose which title to use these days?
Funny you mentioned that. My friend got married last year and she kept Ms. on all her work stuff. She said it feels less like she's announcing her private life to everyone.
That makes so much sense. I've heard folks say Ms. feels more like the female equivalent of Mr. No Strings Attached, just a basic courtesy title. Some people really care about that little bit of privacy.
Exactly. And others really embrace Mrs., especially in more traditional settings, or when they want to signal that change. I guess it really comes down to how someone wants to present themselves.
Or what their family expects. Some people get a ton of pressure from relatives who grew up thinking Mrs. is just what you become. Makes the whole thing way more loaded than you'd think. Speaking of, have you ever slipped up and called someone the wrong one?
Oh, absolutely. At my old job, I once addressed a wedding invitation as Mrs. when she'd just gotten divorced. I felt awful, and she gently corrected me. It was one of those moments you never forget.
That's the worst. I did something similar with a teacher in college. She let me know she preferred Ms., and honestly, I think that's when it clicked for me that it's about respect, not just formality.
Yeah, and people sometimes don't realize how meaningful or loaded those titles can be. It's not just a word, it's kind of a statement. Makes you really double-check before addressing someone.
I've started just asking or even defaulting to Ms. if I'm unsure. It's like, why risk putting someone in an awkward spot when you can just avoid it? That actually leads me to another thing. Do you think these titles are fading out with younger generations?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they're on the endangered words list soon. I see way more people just using first names, especially at work or online. The whole title thing feels kind of old school now.
For sure, especially with email. Most people just skip M's or Mrs. completely unless it's super formal. Still, in some places, like schools or government forms, those boxes just won't die.
Yeah, and when you do see them, it almost feels like a throwback, like using a landline or mailing a check. I guess language sometimes holds on to these relics even after the world's moved on.
It really depends on the setting, but it's wild to think how something as small as a title can reflect bigger cultural shifts. Speaking of shifts, I've noticed some new options popping up like MX. Have you seen that around?
Oh yeah, MX. has started showing up on forms everywhere. It's great for folks who don't fit into those old school categories or who just want something more neutral. It feels like society is finally catching up.
Absolutely. And it's about time. Having more options gives everyone the chance to define themselves on their own terms, not just by relationship status or gender. I think we'll keep seeing even more flexibility in the future.
Makes you wonder what'll come next. Maybe we'll ditch titles altogether and just go by our names. Or maybe we'll invent totally new honorifics. Whatever happens, I'm here for it.
Same here. As long as people feel seen and respected, that's what matters most. And hey, if we can avoid another awkward invitation incident, I'll call that a win.
You know, I always get tripped up between using forward and ahead. They seem to mean the same thing, but somehow it never feels quite right to swap them.
I get what you mean. It's like when you're in traffic and someone says, move forward, you never hear move ahead, even though technically both point to the front. But the vibe is different, right?
Definitely. Move forward feels like a direct action, like pushing ahead through a line. Ahead, though, almost paints a picture like something's already out in front, and you're just trying to catch up to it.
That's a great way to put it. I feel like ahead has this sense of position where you are compared to something else, while forward is all about the movement itself.
So, if we dig deeper, forward is motion-oriented, and ahead is more about location or timing, like look forward versus what's ahead.
Exactly. And I always picture it if you step forward, you're physically moving. But if you say, she's ahead of me, you're talking about position, maybe in a race or just in life.
It's almost like forward is the journey, and ahead is the destination, if that doesn't sound too philosophical for 9 a.m.
Honestly, I love a little philosophy before my coffee. Plus, in English, these small shades of meaning totally change conversations like plan ahead means prepare, not literally walk into the future.
I can't be the only one who's accidentally emailed looking ahead to your reply instead of looking forward to your reply. That just sounds weird.
Oh, I've done that too. It gives off this robot vibe, like you're staring into the calendar waiting for their response instead of actually anticipating it. Looking forward just feels friendlier.
Same with travel. If you tell a driver to go ahead, it's like giving permission. But go forward is more like keep driving straight, right?
Yeah, go ahead almost invites them to start, while go forward is way more mechanical. It's wild how a tiny word swap totally changes the meaning and sometimes the mood.
It's funny some phrases just don't survive the swap. Like you say forward thinking, but calling someone ahead thinking just sounds off.
True. And even straight ahead works, but straightforward means something totally different, like describing honesty, not direction. English keeps us on our toes.
And ahead of the curve, you'd never say forward of the curve. That one especially sounds like you're failing geometry.
Exactly. It's almost like each phrase evolved its own little personality. Makes me wonder how non-native speakers ever keep it straight.
So all this nitpicking, does it really matter if someone mixes up forward and ahead? Or are we just language nerds at this point?
I'd say it actually does matter because the meaning can get muddled. Like, move ahead might sound polite in a meeting, but move forward could feel more urgent or determined. Tiny differences, big impact.
Plus, it's weirdly satisfying when you use the right one. It's like hitting the exact note in a song instead of just humming along.
Totally. And hey, even if we slip up sometimes, at least now we know why. Next time someone says, let's look ahead, we'll know they're planning and not just staring, robot style, into the middle distance.
Thanks you and see you next time.